What if Bitcoin crashed 50% today? How would you react? In the middle of euphoria, when the chart only points upward and headlines scream new records, no one wants to hear about risk. People start believing that this time it's different, that the top is still far away and that Bitcoin will rise forever. That's when greed takes over and history begins to repeat itself. The promises of easy wealth echo across social media and the crowd jumps in without understanding the game. It's the same cycle over and over again. People who once doubted suddenly become overnight experts. Fear disappears and collective euphoria takes control. But that's exactly where danger hides. When everyone believes there's no danger left, that's the moment the market quietly prepares its next lesson. Now imagine the average investor, staring at the screen with a smile and that feeling of invincibility. He thinks he's found the formula for success. Just buy Bitcoin and wait, he tells himself. Each new high reinforces the illusion that risk no longer exists. He starts mocking the warnings, ignoring those who say to take profits or remind him that markets are cyclical. The price rises, and with it, so does his ego. That's when the psychological game begins, silently. Because the market doesn't destroy fortunes, it simply exposes those who never understood their own fear. Meanwhile, the small investor who joined late still believes he's early. He sees the big players making money, influencers showing massive gains, and he feels the pressure not to be left behind. The fear of missing out becomes the engine behind every decision. He doesn't analyze, doesn't study, doesn't plan, he just follows the herd. And that's the oldest trap in the market, making you believe you're winning when you're simply being carried by the tide. When everyone feels confident, risk is already at its highest point. Those who fail to see it end up paying a painful price to learn the lesson. The truth is, the market never changes. The only thing that changes are the faces. People coming and going, convinced they're smarter than those before them. Euphoria always hides the cliff beneath, and while the lights of optimism shine bright, few notice the cracks forming under their feet. Bitcoin doesn't need to crash to destroy dreams. It only needs you to believe the top is safe. The real danger isn't the drop itself, it's believing the cycle is over. Because when the price finally collapses, it's not the chart that bleeds, it's the certainty of those who thought they were invincible. The market has a cruel way of testing who's truly prepared. It never announces when panic is about to begin. One day, everything seems under control. The next, the screens are flooded in red. The same investor who laughed at small dips now feels his heart racing with every candle dropping. He swears he'll hold, but starts checking his balance every minute. The number that once skyrocketed now melts like hot wax. And suddenly, what was once a dream of freedom turns into a silent nightmare. That's the moment when Bitcoin stops being just an asset and becomes a mirror of the human mind. Emotions take over. The rational investor disappears, replaced by an instinctive being ruled by fear. Panic spreads faster than any headline. He desperately looks for reassurance that everything will go back to normal, but all he finds are voices shouting, "Sell now before it's too late." Confidence begins to crack. Every drop feels personal. That red chart no longer looks like numbers, it looks like judgment. And that's where the line is drawn between those who have conviction and those who only had hope. While some spiral into despair, others watch the chaos calmly. They've been tested before, they've learned how to control their fear. They know that collective panic creates the greatest opportunities. But to see that, you must first endure discomfort. It's not just about resisting, it's about understanding the emotional game. Most people don't lose money because prices fall. They lose because they sell at the wrong time. And anyone who can't control their own mind will inevitably be controlled by the market. The investor's psychological test is invisible and relentless. It doesn't measure who has the most money, it measures who has the most control. When fear strikes, only a few hold their ground. And that's why so few reap the rewards of patience. The market will always test your faith before it rewards you. The question is, could you handle it? Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next powerful videos coming up right here. When the price crashes, the first instinct is to believe it's all over. But what few people realize is that a 50% drop isn't just a number, it's a deep psychological shock. Losing half your value requires double the strength to recover. To get back to where you were, the market needs to rise 100%. That simple equation explains why so many give up halfway. The impact isn't only financial, it's emotional. Every red candle feels like mockery, a reminder that maybe you weren't as prepared as you thought. The real pain isn't in the fall itself, it's in the feeling of helplessness that follows. While some panic, others calculate. The whales know that fear creates liquidity. They wait patiently for the exact moment when panic peaks. Then they start buying what the weak are selling. It's a psychological game disguised as a chart. The average investor sees loss, The awakened investor sees opportunity, but to think that way, you must understand the math of fear. The market is a constant transfer of wealth, from the impatient to the patient. Price is nothing more than the thermometer of collective confidence, and that's where the true dilemma appears. Will you act out of fear or logic? With every crash, the market asks that same question, but few answer it clearly. Most follow the herd, repeating the same pattern that has crushed millions of investors before. The secret is to understand that pain is temporary, but bad decisions leave scars. A 50% crash may feel like the end of the world, but for those who think long-term, it's just the beginning of a new opportunity. The difference lies not in the chart, but in the way you see it. The math of fear never fails. Those who sell in panic fund the profits of those who stay calm. This cycle has repeated since the beginning of markets. With every collapse, new millionaires are born, not because they knew the future, but because they endured the present. The real power lies in staying calm when everyone else loses their mind. The history of the financial market is above all a story about human emotions. It always has been. When prices rise, the average investor feels like a genius. When they fall, he feels like a fool. The cycle is old and predictable. First comes disbelief, then excitement, euphoria, overconfidence, and finally collapse. With every new bull run, people say, this time is different. And with every new crash, they say, Bitcoin is dead. But deep down, nothing has changed. Only the faces, the names, and the excuses are different. The psychological pattern remains the same, from the first chart ever drawn to this very moment. The emotional cycle of the market is a trap that feeds on expectation. People buy hope and sell despair. Greed clouds reasoning, while fear paralyzes action. The investor who learns to see through both extremes discovers that the secret lies in the middle, in quiet discipline. Price is merely a reflection of collective behavior. When everyone is overly optimistic, danger is near. When everyone is panicking, opportunity is being born. It's simple, but almost no one can act against their own emotion. While the crowd runs from one side to the other, those who watch from the outside see the tragic beauty of the cycle. It's a theater that repeats endlessly, with new actors and the same ending. Those who act on emotion lose. Those who act with awareness accumulate. That's why the market feels unfair. It rewards those who have learned to endure pain. Fear and greed are the oldest forces on earth, and both live inside each of us. To conquer the market, you must first conquer yourself. And when the next wave of euphoria arrives, it will look different, but it will be exactly the same. The promises will sound familiar, the speeches identical, and those who haven't learned will fall once again. Bitcoin will remain the same asset, but human behavior will continue to be the true enemy. Those who understand this will always be one step ahead. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next on the Financial Enigma. After so many crashes, shocks, and illusions, the awakened investor finally understands that the market is not an enemy. It's a mirror. Every rally reflects his greed. Every drop reveals his fears. In the end, the real lesson isn't found in the chart, but in behavior itself. Those who survive the cycles aren't the smartest. They're the most disciplined. The investor who resists temptation and faces fear with patience gains something money can't buy: awareness. And that awareness makes him immune to the manipulation of the masses. He realizes the market doesn't test your wallet, it tests your mind. Over time, the awakened investor learns to prepare during moments of euphoria. He buys when everyone laughs at him and sells when everyone applauds. He knows there's no such thing as stability, only cycles, and the only constant is change. Wisdom lies not in fighting the market, but in flowing with it. Every crash leaves a scar, but also a lesson, and each lesson brings him closer to the freedom Bitcoin has promised since the beginning, the freedom to own his destiny, independent of governments, banks, or anyone's approval. That's the difference between those who play the game and those who understand it. The first constantly reacts to the charts. The second uses the charts to study human behavior. The awakened investor looks beyond price. He sees the pattern, the rhythm, the pulse. He understands that today's chaos is the fertile ground for tomorrow's wealth. That's why he doesn't fear crashes. He waits for them patiently and strategically, because whoever masters time masters results. And time always favors those who stay firm. In the end, Bitcoin isn't about getting rich fast. It's about learning to think differently. It's about building mindset, discipline, and courage when the whole world doubts you. And if this message helped you see the market from a new perspective, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. Because here on the Financial Enigma, the goal isn't to predict the future, it's to prepare you for it.